All right, hello everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to integrate Azure Functions with Azure KeyVault. I'm going to try to keep it super simple, not waste anybody's time, so let's get right into it. The thing I need to do is actually create a folder. And then we're just going to open that up in Visual Code. Perfect. And first thing we got to do is create an Azure function. So we'll click this create function and we'll use the current folder that we're in. Perfect. I'm going to use C# because it's my favorite, but this of course will work in any language you decide to use, and all these defaults are fine. So I'm just going to hit the default options that are selected when you create a function. And I guess we have to fix these Visual Code errors that I have. I'm going to have to reinstall Visual Code or something because I get these errors all the time. I still love Visual Code, don't get me wrong. All right, so when you have an application, you typically have somewhere to save environment variables. For C# and .NET, you have the local.settings.json. So I'm going to give you an example here. If I create the value called, let's actually call it first name, and then we'll say this is Gwyneth. Just Gwyneth. Gwyneth, there you go. First name, Gwyneth. So if you go back to the code itself, and we're actually going to erase all of this because we don't need any of it, we can create a variable called string first name equals system dot environment dot get environment variable, and just get the environment variable named first name, and then we're just going to print out the variable. Perfect. So let's run this and let's see what happens when we actually execute the function. This should give us a URL shortly. Then we can command click on it and get right to the function. Perfect. And we see we're opening up the function and we see Gwyneth. Perfect. So let's go back to the function and we're going to stop this. Now the issue here, we have two things. When you deploy an Azure function actually to Azure to a production environment, this file local.settings.json does not get pushed. This only stays on your local machine where you're locally developing. And that's for good reason, because you would never want to push something that actually has these environment variables easily accessible. So that's where KeyVault falls into place. So what we're going to do right now is just deploy this function to Azure. So we're going to do deploy to function app, and we're going to select create a new function, and we're just going to call integrate KV func 2. I'm going to call it 2 because I think I was messing around with this before. Then it just asks for the location. So let's go to KeyVault. We're going to need to create one of those. We're going to create a new KeyVault. And we're going to create a new resource group, integrate KV function resource group, and then we're going to call the KeyVault integrate KV func. Perfect. East US2 is best for me, standard. Okay, you can leave everything else as is, hit review and create that. Hit create. Awesome. Now your deployment is underway. Perfect. Let's see what the status of the deployment of the function is. It's on step 5 out of 5. Okay. So right now it's just a waiting game. Alrighty. So back in the function, it looks like it deployed, and we're going to go over to Safari and the KeyVault also. So let's finish up the setup in the KeyVault. So KeyVault is cool. Read up on the documentation. You can store keys and secrets and certificates and all that, but we're just interested in secrets right now. So we're going to go up here and create a new secret. We're going to name it first name, and the value is just going to be my first name. We don't need any of that. We're just going to hit create right now. Perfect. We're going to hit refresh, and if you actually click in there, you'll see you have a current version, and if it's enabled, and all the other details that you need. Every time you create or you update the secret, you're going to get a new version. So if we actually click into the current version, we see we have some details here, but the most important property is this URL that we're going to need soon. But we don't need it at the moment, so we're going to let that be. We're going to open up another tab into Azure, and we're actually going to go to the function. The function that we just deployed. So let's go to function app, and I remember it's number 2, so we're clicking to number 2. And I'm going to show you where you would see your application settings. So you go in to make sure you're at the plan level, and then you're going to hit function app settings, and then you're going to go to manage application settings. Once you're in here, you can see that you have a very similar value to the local.settings.json file. You have a name and value. And if you click on advanced edit, you'll have a format that's a lot similar, right? So right now, what we need to do is update the variable that it's going to put, that the function is actually pulling. So first name, and it's Gwyneth, right? So before I actually save this, I'm going to access the URL of the function and show you that it doesn't pull any value because it doesn't have that name and value pair set anywhere. So if you go into the function itself, you can pull the URL. You can grab the URL here and just paste and go, and you see that it returns no value because it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't have anything to return. So back into the application settings. Again, we added first name, Gwyneth, and we're going to hit save, continue. So this should update, and we're going to do, yeah, I think this is right? So now we're loading. Come on. I think every time you update your application settings, it restarts the function, so it takes a little longer to get called once it's starting up. So you see, now we see the value of Gwyneth. If we were to change this, it would update it as well. Now, the only issue here is, again, you have all this information sort of just displayed. All the person who's working on this has to do is click into application settings of the function, and you'd be able to see this value. But this isn't as secure as we could make it. What if we were able to abstract it one level more? And that's what we're actually going to do now. So let's go back to the function app itself, and we're going to go into platform features, and we're going to go into identity. Under system identity, you're going to select the status, and you're going to turn that on, save. What this is enabling the function to do is it's allowing itself to have the feature to have policies assigned to itself. So you see here, you can control its access to services like resource manager, KeyVault, etc. Right? Awesome. So now we have everything that the function needs to be able to work with a policy. We just have to assign a policy to itself. Who is going to give the policy? The KeyVault. So now we're going to go to the KeyVault. Did I have the KeyVault open? Yes, I do. So we're going to go over to the KeyVault overview. And in the KeyVault itself, you're going to go to access policies, and you're going to add an access policy. Configure from template. Yes, we only want it to have access to secrets. So that'll already check these off here. And then you're going to select the principal. Principal just means which identity is assuming this policy. And it's going to be our function. Integrate. And it's number 2 here. And then just hit select. And then you hit add. Awesome. Then you hit save. Great. So now we have that connection there. The function can listen to the policy, and the policy has been assigned by the KeyVault. Perfect. So next step we have to actually do is get into the secret. Remember I told you that we're going to need the URL inside of the properties? Well, now we're going to use it. So the secret identifier, you're going to copy that. And you're going to go actually back to the functions application settings. So we'll go to function app, again, settings, and then we're going to go to manage application settings. Come on. There we go. Manage application settings. And we're going to do an advanced edit just because I like this editor better than this one. So in here, the value isn't going to be Gwyneth anymore. We're going to need to paste in the URL. But Microsoft actually has a format that you're supposed to follow. I'm going to leave this link, which is just an official Microsoft documentation page, and they give you the URL that you're supposed to format things in. So if you see, it says at Microsoft.KeyVault secret URI, and then just the URL that we copied. So I'm just going to copy up until here, hit copy, and then we're just going to paste that in. So here we go, paste that in there, and we just have to close that. Perfect. Then we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to hit save, hit continue. Awesome. So again, that has to save and restart the function. So we're going to close these. Well, we're going to keep that one open. We're going to close that, and we're going to keep, looks like updating web app settings was successful. So if we refresh this, it's pulling Gwyneth. But let me show you one thing is, what if we wanted to update? All right, so let's go back into the KeyVault. And the secret, we're going to add a new version. We're going to say it's now GPS, my initials, and then we're going to hit create. Now, the one thing that's a little tedious is every time you update a secret, you have to manually update the URL in the application settings. I know Microsoft is working on how to work with like the rotation of keys and secrets, but I don't think it's been implemented yet. So we just have to do it manually. So we'll go into that, and then we'll update the URL, and then hit OK, then hit save, then hit continue. Come on, come on, come on. Awesome. So now if we refresh this page, oh, I think it's restarting. We didn't give it enough time. So we'll see it's sort of stuck loading there. There we go. And now we see GPS. Can you see that? Yes. Awesome. So what does this all mean? This means that in your application settings, you no longer need to provide the value. You just need to provide where the secret is located inside of KeyVault. Again, as long as your function has an identity and the function is assigned a policy from the KeyVault, you can get these working fine. And I think it abstracts a certain responsibility of security. Like, you don't have to hard code any important credentials or anything into your code. You can just put it in KeyVault, and I think it's a very helpful and useful tool to have. So yeah, I try to keep this as short and sweet as possible, and I would like to continue making more videos on Azure. So if you have any recommendations, please just let me know, and I will maybe see you in the next video. I don't know. All right.